That was a bit of a quick one. Hello guys, this is UniversalGiant and welcome back for more of Let's Play the Pokémon trading card game. The game! Last time we beat up the Rock Club, and today we'll be moving on to the Lightning Club. So for the first time since the Water Club, we have a fairly straightforward type, because what else is going to fit into Electric? Tell me Makuni's here too. Oh, son of a gun. Do I want to fight you again? I really don't want to fight you again. You know what? Until I get another Electabuzz, I'd rather not, because I don't think I can afford to do that. Actually, I wonder, if I still have the Haymaker here, I don't think it'll force me to dismantle it. Yeah, I'll hold off on that trade until I have a spare Electabuzz, because I'd rather keep the Haymaker deck together. You know what? I'll fight this guy off-screen. I think I get something for beating him a third time, and I swear I beat him off-screen at some point, so I'll be right back. And once again, that fight took a lot longer than it should have. But since we beat him for a third time, even though I only showed beating him twice on screen, we get the card that lets us confuse ourselves! Definitely gonna be using that one. Yeah, no thanks. So fighting him also revealed something kind of interesting, in that if you're confused and you are weak to your own type, you will do double damage to yourself. So if he was using, I think he was using a Slowpoke that was Psychic type, and since he was also weak to the Psychic type, he did himself 40 damage instead of 20, which is kind of annoying when that happens. But I'll switch back to the fighting deck, because that's the one I wanted to use here. Since, as you can imagine, Ground type was condensed into fighting, and Electric is weak to ground. However, if there are any Pokemon that are resistant to fighting, I am an idiot and only put fighting types in this deck, so we may be in trouble. But after last time, ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of trouble. Spice things up a bit. So this is Jennifer, and she really likes Pikachu. So as you can imagine, we'll probably be seeing a lot of Pikachu, but we've also seen Machop before, 50 HP, 20 damage for 1 energy. But hopefully we'll be able to see its evolutionary family in here as well. Now, Jennifer has a lot of different kinds of Pikachu. You can see she has a Surfing Pikachu, even though it does electric damage, requires water energy, and is still weak to fighting. She also has a Flying Pikachu, which is the one that I was particularly afraid of her having, because it's resistant to fighting. Hopefully that won't be too much of an issue, because she only has 40 health. So we'll see how that goes. But at least the stuff that's weak to fighting we should have an easy time with. So hopefully we'll be able to work around. But even though there's normally a rule against having the same type of Pokemon, like you can't have more than 4 Pikachu in your deck, because these are special Pikachu and they have different names on their cards, they count differently for some reason. So you can have 4 Surfing Pikachu, you can have 4 Flying Pikachu, and you can have 4 regular Pikachu. But I don't believe you can evolve the special Pikachu into Raichu, you can only evolve the normal Pikachu. It's kinda weird. But it's a thing. And unfortunately we're not going to be able to do anything with this Machop, since it is resistant. So hopefully we can work our way around it. But Low Kick's not going to be able to do anything. So this will help us come up with a different strategy. Hopefully we get something that does a little bit more damage. I'm kind of upset that we're not at this point. I guess I'll keep building up the stuff that we have. Because I'd like to show off the other things, but I can't show them off if we don't get them. So we have the Machop family, we have some Diglett in here, we have nothing else that's showing up. Like, I really would like to show off a Cubone or something. Guess we're not going to get the chance. Power up the Diglett. Hopefully something gets into her hand, because I don't have anything specifically to look for certain kinds of cards. And there are trainer cards that allow you to do that, and I'm just bad at putting them in because foresight. I just pray that one falls into my lap, and it usually works out, but it doesn't always. Now, I'll put in Diglett because I believe Diglett has Free Treat, if I remember correctly. It does. So we can always do that, and I guess we'll have to discard the Machamp for now, because I'd really like to draw something I can evolve. That'd be great. We got a Hitmonchan, probably won't be able to do much of anything. We got a Cubone, have a Machoke, which is the reason why I was grinding for... or why I was placing those energy on the Machop, just in case I happen to get one of those. So we'll retreat to the bench, we'll bring out Machoke, check what she has. Can probably deal with a regular Pikachu if we want a quick kill. The thing is, we have an attack that does 50 minus 10 for every 10 damage that Machoke has on it. So if we attack with it now, we would do 20 damage to the Pikachu, and it would only do 10 damage next turn. Although we do have the plus power. I don't know, I'd rather get the free kill while we can. So let's get that free kill. And there was a Machoke in my prizes, of course. So unfortunately, being paralyzed, she'll get 10 more damage on us if we don't evolve, meaning that our attack would only be doing 30 damage, minus the 30 from resistance, so we'd be kind of screwed. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. Gotta figure out a way to work around this Pikachu. If we don't get paralyzed, we can still do Submission, but that does damage to ourselves. So you gotta be careful with that, especially if we keep getting paralyzed. The one thing that annoys me more than anything... Maybe Hitmonlee would be our way. You know what, I think I'll start powering up Hitmonlee. Get to show that thing off, because that's another way to get around this resistance stuff. But that's one of the trainer cards that you can use to help yourself get Pokemon. You can flip a coin to get any one from your deck and then shuffle it back. So Pokeball can be kind of useful, but not all that reliable. And if we get another energy, maybe it's worth doing Submission. Let me just double check, because I don't use this one all that often. Submission does 60 total, so it would only do 30, and I would do 20 damage to myself. I guess we can do that. But I think that's also going to do 30 to us. It's worth the knockout, though. I really don't want to deal with that thing. At least not longer than I have to. But without the plus power, we won't be able to knock it out. I wouldn't mind doing the suicide play, because we only have one prize card left to take. Decisions. Everything she has is still weak to fighting, but we can't get this thing out of the active spot. And I think everything in her... Yeah, they all have 50. So let's... Might as well. Knock ourselves out in the process. So let's get Diglett in there. I'm sending out the one without any energy on it, so if she does happen to knock it out, which she shouldn't do because I believe we're resistant to it, then she would be knocking out the one that has no energy on it, so I don't care. As opposed to the one that has 2 energy on it, which I don't want to lose. So now it's a matter of, can we I was thinking of doing something a little more interesting, but if we can actually get some raw damage going, I think your high jump kick is 50, right? That's not normally how I like to play this Hitmonlee, but it's what works. He has another attack that allows you to attack Pokemon on their bench as opposed to their active, and that allows you to get around the weakness and resistance. So I wanted to show that off, but the opportunity didn't exactly present itself. I don't think I have a Moltres in this file either. That's a good one. And I haven't shown off the fire deck yet, so maybe I'll stick it in there. Now, although the music can get a bit annoying after a while, I do enjoy it. Just gets a little annoying after a while. Again, we're only starting with a Machop. But the thing about these card decks is you only have yourself to blame, because you're the one who put the thing together. If anything goes wrong or you don't draw the right cards, it's your fault. You were the one who put them there. And speaking of, he's got a Zapdos! That's going to be irritating. Now Zapdos, although it is resistant to fighting, it cannot attack unless it has 4 energy cards, so we have a little bit of time to spare. Hopefully we'll be able to find a workaround, but that may not happen all that soon. But since Machop can only do 20 damage, and resistance subtracts 30, we're not going to be able to do much without much help. Now Cubone also has an attack I may want to make some use of. I keep losing track of where I'm going. Cubone is... okay, it's not the Cubone that I thought it was, never mind. I might be thinking of Marowak. But since you were so kind as to put a Voltorb on the bench, and I guess we'll do that. Take another free kill while we can. Work ourselves around the Zapdos while we can. It's only one more turn after this until we can start attacking. And then we may be in a bit of trouble. Not even Diglett's going to be able to stop it, given the resistance. Yeah, let's discard, see what else we can get. Hopefully something that can work around this thing. Machoke will be more helpful than not, that's what I was hoping for. At least for now. Dugtrio will be helpful later. Marowak eventually. Just gonna put another Cubone down. And this will actually do some damage, but not all that much. Any bit of damage will help. Now we can start attacking. Thunderbolt deals 100 damage, so he's going to get the kill immediately, but he has to discard all energy cards attached to his Zapdos to use it. So he won't be able to attack with this thing again until he attaches another 4 energy to it, which will take another 4 turns. And I'll switch in the Diglett because it can retreat for free to whatever I want. Want to check to see what I have, what would do damage. Bonemerang would only do damage if I get 2 heads, which isn't all that helpful. Call for Friend might be helpful. Dugtrio... I'll probably have to start building that thing up. You know what, let's put one on Marowak. Let's see if we can get lucky with Bonemerangs. So that's going to do 30, and then in the meantime we'll start building up something that'll actually do damage consistently. The thing is, Zapdos, I don't believe... How expensive is its retreat? It is 3, so that thing's going to be stuck in there for a while. And we did lose our Machoke, so we can't do much there. I'm wondering if it would have been more worthwhile to use Call for Friend to get something else, but that would cost another energy, and we only have just enough to power up Dugtrio. Yeah, I think Brandon's getting the hint. This is the thing I was going to search for anyway. So now it's a question... Because I believe Earthquake does 10 damage to each of my benched Pokemon. And I'm not sure if I want to give him free damage. But that is... How much is that? 70? So it would do 40. It would do just enough to knock him out. You know what? Let's start building that thing up, just in case we do need it. Because we only need one prize card after that, and he's only got one Zapdos. At least, that's out already. Everything else should be weak to fighting. So if we can get rid of this thing, we should be okay. Even if it takes a little bit of damage to our own bench to do it. So everybody's going to be taking 10 damage, but if it's what we need to do to get rid of the Zapdos, so be it. And then this thing should go down without much of a fight. So not all of the Pokemon trainers that you face in here will have decks that are exclusively the type of the gym that you're in. I don't know why I'm confused. Be it a Zapdos here. Only fitting. They won't all have just electric types, and if they do, they won't all be weak to fighting, so you gotta adjust your game accordingly. Which is nice. Now, if you happen to catch the name of this guy's deck, it's called the Self-Destruct deck. And again, we start off with just a Machop. Now, if he's starting with a Pokemon that has only 40 HP, I think we just got a Donk. Unfortunately, we didn't. Darn. I think it's called a Donk if you knock out the opponent's only basic Pokemon before they get a chance to attack. I don't remember where I first heard that. But there is a term for that. I guess we'll keep attaching fighting energies in case we get a Machoke. But if we're able to completely destroy this guy's deck before... Oh no, it wasn't. Dang! But he's the first one we've seen in a while that actually has two different types of Pokemon in his deck. He's got a fighting type and an electric type. So he's running two different kinds of energy as well. And I think you saw me do that when I was using the Blastoise Gengar deck. And generally, if you don't know what your opponent is going to be running, then you'll want to have more than one type of Pokemon in your deck. The only issue with it is you may not always get the type of energy that you need. But in terms of versatility, it's more than helpful. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary. You just don't want more than two types of Pokemon in your deck, otherwise you won't be getting the energy that you need. And with that, we move on to the club leader. And this guy has another self-destruct deck. Now, unfortunately, we didn't see the AI use self-destruct when it was his last Pokemon, and I'm sure they're programmed to not do that, but it would be funny if it actually worked. So we actually have a Diglett to put out in addition to the traditional Machop that we always start with. So depending on who he has, I can always retreat it out, and this thing's an Electabuzz. So we have... You know, I think I'd rather keep this thing out because it is resistant to electricity. Whereas Machop is not. So Diglett can do a decent amount of damage, but it is extremely frail, having only 30 health. So I forget what the... I think Mudslap is just an attack. So let's put an energy on you. And let's do a quick 60 damage. So even though we're able to do 30 damage for 2 energy, and it looks kind of broken because the Pokemon that we have is weak to the type of Pokemon that he's using, I guarantee this thing will be torn to shreds if you're facing anything besides electric types. So it looks like we're not going to get a free win after all. He did have a Professor Oak who's drawing another 7 cards, so this one's going to drag on for a bit longer. But that's not only to be expected, it's a lot more interesting to watch. So I guess I could power up Hitmonlee, because Hitmonlee would be doing the most damage. The only thing he has in his deck right now that would be doing us more than... doing us enough damage to actually get around the resistance is the Electabuzz, if he's able to get the extra damage from Thunder Punch. I was really hoping to draw a Dugtrio there. Just we can get that thing going. Now this Electrode I'm not all that familiar with because it's a Game Boy exclusive. Sonic Boom gets around the resistance, so that's going to be an instant knockout on this Diglett. In Energy Spike, I don't know if I've ever seen it use this. Bit expensive for what it is. So I guess we'll get... I'm not sure, I kind of want Marowak for the resistance, but since he has Electrode, it's not going to matter much. We'll see if he retreats out and uses Electabuzz. I think that's the play that should be made, and I'm not sure if he's going to make it. No, he's not. I assume he's attaching those energy to Electrode. Because you would want to get around the resistance if you see your opponent is playing with the resistance in it, but he's just spreading out the energy. I guess that's fine. So we'll go for the quick knockout with the high jump kick. And I'm only playing this aggressively, assuming that he didn't... Well, I guess he's saving the Electrode. So we'll be able to knock out this Magnemite on the next turn. And I guess we can evolve the Diglett now, no reason not to. It's a shame we weren't able to see Stretch Kick actually be used. It lets you attack your opponent's bench Pokemon directly. Didn't wind up being necessary after all. But it's an interesting little attack that comes in handy on occasion. And that does it for Isaac and the Lightning Gym. I have logged 30 to 40 hours on this file, have not gotten a single Moltres, and yet I record for 20 minutes, and I get 3 of them! My luck is incredible. But this is UniversalGiant! And next time, we'll move on to a different club with a different deck. See you then.